It's still not working. Hey. Hi, everybody. Adam Savage in my cave. This one's fun. This is a magic build. I have built some magic things in the past, but I am not into revealing magical secrets. So I have not covered those. And I count among my friends many magicians and many who are really unbelievable magicians. And a good friend of mine, who is a magician working on this piece, has asked for a big knife for this thing he does on stage. I'm not going to spoil what he does on stage, but he said to me, I want a knife that's like big and visible. I got to be able to secret it on my person. And so we figured out how big it could be. He said about 13 inches strapped to his side. Like, he's got a way to hide it so the audience can't see it. But he wanted a big visual knife for this stunt. 13-inch long visible knife. And we talked about it a bit, and he was like a dive knife. And I was like, oh, like one of those ones the Sharper Image used to have. And he was like, yeah, exactly that. And so this here is the knife that he wants. This long, this big. This is like, you know, half the size of my forearm here. This is big, 13 inches long. We're going to make it for him. We're not going to make it out of steel. We're going to make it out of a chunk of 1/4-inch aluminum I've got here. And we're going to make a stage piece. This is, so oftentimes in magic, when you were watching a trick that involves blades, like let's say a magician's assistant gets in a box and he starts putting blades in there. One of my issues with magic as a dramatic form is that those blades are always these flat pieces of chrome that like, they look like kids' toys. And I recognize that this is an aesthetic. I feel personally like the blades don't carry stakes. They don't feel like blades. So I endeavor here in this build to make this feel like a blade. And I think I'm going to end up kind of polishing it so I can give it a mirror, not a mirror finish, but a highly polished finish. And then the magician can take it down from that with Scotch-Brite or steel wool if need be. But I want to give, sometimes when you make something super shiny, it makes it less visible. It's a weird artifact of being too shiny. But I also want to give the magician the full spectrum of visibility that they would like. So I think I'm going to bring it to a reasonable polish and let them take it back. But first, we're going to transfer the pattern to this and start drilling some holes and cutting it out. Should be a pretty easy build, but also a really fun one. Oh, and when we get to the blade grinding here, I'm going to give it a real hollow grind. You'll see. It'll make it much more visually sharp looking. Yeah, how about that? Okay, so I know it's a little bit messy. Did I nail that on the first try? Nope, not quite. There it is. 15/16. Okay. One aspect of this is that the the holes are clearly centered along the blade, as is the center line here. And rather than attempt to glue this down perfectly centered on this sheet, I am going to drill all 5 of these holes and then match this to those. The holes are 15/16 in diameter, and they are 1.2 inches center to center. So yeah, we're just going to chuck this in. Oh, right. I got to tram my mill. I haven't trammed it in. That means I removed the vise. I drilled 70 pieces of aluminum at once. And I removed the vise, and that means I have to reinstall the vise. Little vise! Seriously, if there is an easier way to drill a perfectly sized hole than an annular cutter, I don't know what it is. I love these things. That is a $50 hole saw. Maybe 35, but still, it's an expensive little bit of kit and honestly worth every freaking penny. I love these things so much. All right. We're going to move 1.2 inches. Here we go. 1.2. There we go. What? That was it. It didn't make any noise. Oh, you do have to be careful about this murder foil. It will slice you to ribbons. You know, besides that. And you always have to remove the plug from the end of the cut, because the reason this cuts so well is because it's not actually boring its way through the whole material. Hold on, I'll show you. Here's a 1 inch, actually, a tale of two objects for making holes. Here is, a tale of three objects. Hold on. All right, a tale of, wait, 4. Let's do 4. From the sacred to the profane, or in the reverse order. Whoops. The first hole saw I ever encountered looked like this. This is your standard hole saw. And listen, these can do a tremendous amount of really great work. They are not super precise. You will not end up with that measurement as the inside of your hole. Not precise, but it centers on its own hole. And actually, you chuck stuff hard into the vise and you can carve through half tubing. Roll cages for cars are built almost solely using stuff like this in many, many, many shops. So don't underestimate the power of these. Run them slow, run them with a lot of coolant, especially if you're going through thick metal. But, and there are many, 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 many different brands of these. They all do different stuff. There's diamond coated ones, there's carbide, so that's your basic hole saw. Then you move up to your Deming bit, which is a standard sort of twist drill arrangement with the various cutting surfaces. And as this goes through, you are also not going to end up with this outer barrel measurement as the measurement. Twist drills, there's a lot of wobble in them. 10, 15, 20 thou sometimes. It can be real. So this is a Deming bit. It drills at 1 inch, but if you really wanted it to be mission critical close to 1 inch, you'd probably do like 1/2 inch, 3/4, 15/16, and then this, so it's only carving off a little bit. The reason you pre-drill with heavy drill bits is so that they're not doing all of this work scraping out of the hole, which pushes them and causes them to, this doesn't look like it flexes, but dude, I can tell you it can flex. Working with Mitch Romanowski in the early days at Jamie's shop in the mid-90s, he was drilling through a 3/4 inch piece of aluminum with something like this, and it caught and bit the aluminum and started spinning it started spinning the aluminum on the drill press, and the drill press was on. We all hit the deck, and then we crawled along the floor to the plug of the drill press and unplugged it. And this drill bit was bent at like a 30-degree angle. One of the scariest things I've ever seen happen in a shop. These are great. These are wonderful and it's important tools to have, but don't expect when you drill a 1 inch hole, you're going to get a 1 inch hole. Then we move up to the thing that will give you a nice 1 inch hole, which is a big fat 1 inch end mill. Now, this also has a different geometry of cutting surfaces here. But similar to the Deming bit, The cutting edges are doing huge amounts of work. They are carving the entirety of the bottom of that hole out. And when you ask a 1-inch end mill like this to do that cold, it gets cranky about it. It'll make your machine vibrate. If this is at all not sharp, it's going to gall. Again, you want to creep up on this if you want to make a perfect 1-inch hole. Why is this worth $50? It's because unlike this or the Deming bit, this is only cutting along that profile. It's about 1/8 of an inch wide. So it's moving, it's removing a lot less material than this is, or the Deming bit. Sorry, yeah. Plus you run it at 500 RPM, and these leading edges, there's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as opposed to 2. So they're spreading the load. They are lowering the load. And because the entire spiral flute here is a cutting edge, you get perfect internal finished surfaces. Hold on, I'll show you. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That is so beautiful. And that is precisely the outer dimensions, like within a thou. Honestly, that's a finish pass, right? That just looks absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, let's drill 5 more holes. 1.2, now we're gonna go to 1.2 plus 1.2 is 2.4. Again, murder foil, be gentle as you remove it. If you yank on it, it will cut right through your flesh. I love these little plugs. 1.2 plus 2.4 is 3.6. Nope. Remove it out. Okay, so we want that's good. I like that. Okay, so 48 to 36. 24. I'm going to play a little fast and loose here with my measurements, but I think this should work. They're not perfect, but they look great. Yeah. And it's just fine for stage work. Yeah. Again, they're not dead to nuts, but they're close enough.
that? Let's do this one.
Nope. Don't like. All right. Oh yeah, we're doing it. Hi. I think it might be too shiny for stage work. Let me take it down one notch. I'm just going to hit it with some steel wool because that tends to be a great way to dull something just a little bit. Give it a little more visibility. You don't even know, on Raiders, when they had the original idol, the Jovedos idol, the golden idol, it was chrome plated and they hit it with dulling spray. In fact, like, chrome plate is spectacular sound. Chrome plate is too shiny for film, but all right, I'm going to text the magician, see how he likes this. This is just a friend thing. I think this is a lovely stage prop, and it's nice and large. It's gargantuan, 13 inches long. Oh, all right. I gotta say, this kind of work is really hard to do right. It is, I know it looks pretty good. My hat is off to Tony Swatton, Jimmy DiResta, Peter Lyon, my heroes. This is that was hours and hours of just like, and the fact is that when you're doing this hollow grind, you can actually find the hollow with the wheel. And if you're really, really gentle, you can track along it, but woe betide you if you start to make this line off. And this line being crisp requires that you kind of not make a single mistake, that spine. And when you look at some people's work that they can do by hand and not make a single mistake, it's shocking. Yeah, it's totally amazing. So thank you guys for joining me for this one-day build. Yeah. I will see you next time. Thank you for watching that video. If you're anything like me, you were watching it wondering, Adam, how can I spend more time with my friends in the outdoors under improvisatory and impromptu conditions? And I would counsel you to go to adamsavage.com and buy yourself one of my bedrolls, which will allow you plenty of dry yet comfortable socializing on grass or any other place you find yourself. I've had one of these in the trunk of my car for 25 years. Okay, I haven't been making these for 25 years. It was somebody else's until I made my own. Okay, adamsavage.com. I'll see you there.